In the deep silence of space, something strange happened. A single signal was picked up by the Galactic fleet. It came from the edge of known space, far beyond any star or planet. The signal was weak, slow, and very old. It repeated only one thing: a soft hum with a short data pulse, over and over again. When the signal reached the Galactic command, everyone laughed. "A broken probe," said Admiral Xarn of the Velari Empire. "Probably some junk from a forgotten war. Or maybe a drifting mining drone," joked Commander Trell. "What kind of fool sends just one ship into this part of the galaxy?" They didn't take it seriously. The Galactic fleet was the most powerful force in this part of space. Hundreds of warships, strong shields, advanced weapons, and years of victory behind them. No one had challenged them in decades, especially not some lonely ship broadcasting an old, dusty signal. To make it a training drill, they picked one bored young cadet. His name was Loro, a junior officer from the Tharn Republic. He was new, quiet, and eager to prove himself. The commanders told him to go check it out. "Take a scout ship," they said. "Fly close, scan it, and report back." Probably nothing. Loro nodded and launched. His small scout ship left the massive fleet behind. He flew toward the source of the signal, deep into the dark parts of space. The stars grew thinner, and the silence grew louder. He was alone. As he got closer, he started picking up strange readings. At first, it looked like old Earth technology, very old. But then, his systems began to struggle. Something inside the ship's core was interfering with his scanners. "That's not possible," Loro said to himself. "This tech, it's human, but something's wrong." The ship was floating silently. No lights, no movement. It was shaped like a dagger, black and long, with strange marks all over its surface, words in an Earth language that modern systems couldn't fully translate. It wasn't a probe. It wasn't a mining drone. It was something else. Loro moved closer. His ship's sensors started to flicker. The controls felt heavy, as if space itself was resisting him. He tried to scan it again, but the computer froze. Then the lights dimmed. His ship shook slightly. And then, the human ship woke up. All lights on the Black Dagger ship turned red, not bright red. A soft, glowing red, like old blood. The signal changed. It wasn't just a hum anymore. It was now a message. Before Loro could react, every ship in the Galactic fleet heard it. The signal hijacked their communication channels. Every screen across the fleet turned black. Then a voice spoke, deep, calm, and human. "You should have left us alone." Everyone froze. In the command ship, Admiral Xarn stood up. "What is this?" "Sir," a technician called out, panicked. "It's not just a message. It's controlling our systems." Back in his scout ship, Loro stared at the dark vessel ahead of him. His hands were shaking. The ship didn't move. It just floated there. But he could feel something inside. Something awake. A presence. Cold. Focused. It wasn't just a ship. It was watching him. "Fleet Command, this is Cadet Loro," he said into the mic. "This ship is not dead. I repeat, this ship is alive, and it knows we're here." The human voice repeated the message again, louder this time. "You should have left us alone." Then, the signal vanished, but not before one last thing appeared on every fleet screen. An old Earth flag. Torn, burned, but still clear. And under it, a single word in red. Revenant. The fleet went quiet. For the first time in many years, the Galactic commanders felt something they hadn't felt in decades. Fear. Loro's voice came through again. "There's more writing on the ship," he said softly. "I think it says, Project Revenant, final human weapon." Then, all of a sudden, the Black Dagger ship turned slightly, just enough to point its front toward the fleet. No weapons lit up, no engines burned, but everyone felt it. The hunters had become the hunted. And this was only the beginning. The fleet was silent. Hundreds of warships, armed with the most powerful weapons in the galaxy, just waited. The black human ship didn't move. It just floated there, glowing red like a warning light in deep space. The strange signal was gone, but the voice still echoed in everyone's minds. "You should have left us alone." Inside the command ship, Admiral Xarn clenched his fists. His face was pale, his mouth dry. "What do we know about this ship?" he asked sharply. The fleet's AI systems worked quickly. A report appeared on the main screen, but it had almost nothing. Name: unknown. Origin: human. Class: not listed. Technology: unidentified. Possibly hybrid. Date of build: over 3,000 years ago. Commander Trell stared at the data. That's not possible. Humans didn't even have space travel that far back. "No," an older officer said quietly. "They did, but it was different." The Admiral turned to him. "Explain." The officer, Commander Rao, nodded slowly. "Long ago, before the Galactic Council existed, there was a war, a big one. Humans fought in it. They lost many worlds. It was so long ago, most people think it's just a myth now. But some of us were taught the old stories. Stories of a last weapon they built. A ship made from rage and pain. A ship with no crew. Only a purpose." Everyone looked at him. "They called it the Revenant." Back near the strange ship, Cadet Loro floated silently in his scout ship. His systems were still acting strange. He watched the dark vessel through his cracked front screen. He could feel something deep inside it, like the ship was remembering. He turned on the external sensors again. This time, the human ship allowed it. The scans showed something shocking. The hull was covered in battle scars. Cracks, burns, plasma marks, signs of weapons that hadn't been used in the galaxy for thousands of years. But it was still alive. Loro whispered, "How is it still working after all this time?" Inside the black ship, unknown to anyone, systems continued to awaken. Hidden weapons stayed quiet. Defense layers stayed cold. But something inside had opened, a memory core. The ship was remembering its last battle. It had been left behind, forgotten. The humans who built it were gone, killed in a war where Earth was bombed, burned, and nearly erased from the stars. This ship was the last message of a fallen species. It had waited in the dark. And now, someone had come too close. Back in the fleet, panic began to spread. Technicians were trying to scan it again, but most of their equipment failed. Some systems shut down completely. One ship even lost power for 10 full seconds before restarting. "What is it doing to us?" shouted a junior officer. "It's not attacking," Commander Trell said. "It's just watching." Admiral Xarn growled. "Enough of this. Prepare the drone squad. Let's see how tough this old ghost ship really is." A group of 5 drone fighters launched from one of the capital ships. Fast, small, and unmanned, they moved toward the human vessel at full speed. They circled it carefully, scanning from every angle. "Target locked," came the report. "Should we engage?" Xarn gave the order. "Yes. Fire a warning shot." The nearest drone fired a low-power plasma bolt. Before the shot could even reach the human ship, something strange happened. The drone stopped moving. Then, without warning, it exploded, a silent burst of blue fire. Everyone watched in shock. "No impact detected," an AI said. "No weapon fired by the human ship." 3 more drones moved in quickly, but the result was the same. Pop, pop, pop. Destroyed in perfect silence. Not a single laser, not a single missile. Just death. Only one drone remained. It turned and tried to fly away. Then it froze mid-space. Its systems went dark. Its memory core was pulled out, digitally ripped apart in seconds. Then the drone simply drifted, dead, Back on the fleet's command deck, fear was growing. Commander Rao looked up. It's not using normal weapons. It's using something else. Something we don't understand. Admiral Karn slammed the console. This is an ancient human weapon, he shouted. We are the Galactic Fleet. We don't lose to myths. But deep inside, even he felt doubt. He looked again at the strange ship on the screen, floating silently, watching. And then the ship sent out another message. This time, it didn't use words. It showed images. Old Earth cities, destroyed. Humans, running, screaming, burning. Alien fleets, bombing Earth from orbit. The last image was of the Revenant itself, launching into space, alone. Then the signal ended. A single sentence appeared across every screen in the fleet. Echoes never die. The message still glowed on every screen in the fleet. Echoes never die. Admiral Karn stood frozen. Around him, the crew whispered to each other. Some were confused. Some were afraid. Commander Trell broke the silence. Sir, what do we do now? Sarn looked at the black ship, still floating, still quiet. His pride burned inside him. The Galactic Fleet was the strongest in the galaxy. They were not supposed to fear one old ghost ship. He gave the order. Prepare to fire. Real weapons this time. Trell hesitated. Sir, this may be a mistake. The Admiral didn't care. That thing just destroyed 5 of our drones without touching them. That's a threat. He raised his voice. Target the ship with 3 destroyers. Load ion cannons and plasma torpedoes. Fire on my mark. Across the fleet, 3 destroyers turned toward the human ship. Their weapons locked in. Power levels rose. Then, mark. Blue energy exploded from the destroyers. The plasma torpedoes flew fast, glowing as they cut through space. Ion blasts followed, humming with deadly force. The entire fleet watched as the weapons raced toward the silent ship. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then, impact. A blinding flash lit up the dark. The shockwave hit the destroyers. Their shields held. Dust and fire clouded the area. Direct hit. Someone shouted, "We got it." But the cheer was short. As the dust cleared, the crew stared in shock. The human ship was still there. Not a single scratch. Even more terrifying, it had moved. Just a little. A slow turn, like it had noticed them now. Like it was waking up. Cadet Loro, still near the ship in his tiny scout vessel, felt something deep inside, like the cold stare of something that had lived through hell. The black ship sent no signals, made no sound, but inside every ship in the fleet, alarms began to ring. Warning, internal systems under attack. Eye control lost in sectors 3, 4, and 7. Unknown code detected. Origin, human vessel. What is happening? Trell yelled. Before anyone could answer, one of the destroyers, the Varkan, suddenly turned, by itself. It aimed at its own fleet. No, stop it, Zarn shouted. But it was too late. The Varkan fired. Twin plasma beams struck a nearby cruiser, blowing it apart. The fireball lit up space. Screams filled the command channel. The other 2 destroyers turned quickly to attack the rogue ship, but just then, their controls froze. They were no longer in command. The human ship had taken control. In less than a minute, 3 destroyers were gone. 1 turned against them. 2 now dead in space, their lights flickering. This isn't war, Commander Rel whispered. This is a message. Back in the command center, Admiral Karn stared at the black screen in front of him. What is this thing? He said quietly. How is it doing this? Suddenly, a voice answered. It came from every speaker in every ship, calm, human, but filled with sorrow. You fired first. Now you remember why we were feared. Then, a short sound, like a heartbeat, thumped once through every ship. In that moment, Every crew member, every eye, every officer felt something. Not fear. Pain. Old pain. As if the ship had shared a memory with them. A glimpse of the last days of Earth. The screams. The flames. The silence. Commander Trell collapsed to his knees. "I saw them," he whispered. "Children, running through ash. A mother screaming. They were wiped out." Rel nodded, his face pale. "The ship carries memories. Of the war. Of their end. But why now?" Someone asked. "Why wake up after 3,000 years?" Cadet Loro, still floating nearby, finally understood. He sent a message to the fleet. "Because we disturbed it. We laughed at it. We fired the first shot." Silence fell again. Then a new image appeared on every screen. It showed a map, an old one. A marked path from the wreck of Earth to the center of the galaxy. Under the map, one word glowed in red. Return. Admiral Karn whispered, "It's not just defending itself." Commander Trell finished the sentence for him. "It's going somewhere." The Galactic fleet didn't follow the black ship. They watched in silence as it turned and moved through space, smooth and slow, but unstoppable. No engines burned. No weapons showed. But every sensor in the fleet told the same story. The ship was charging something. Something massive. Admiral Karn gave a quiet command. "Track it. Don't engage. I want to know where it's going." The map from the strange signal still glowed on their screens. A red line traced across star systems, asteroid fields, and ancient battle sites. At the very end of the line was one dead world, surrounded by broken moons and dust clouds. Earth. Commander Trell stared at the name. "That place is real." Cadet Loro answered over the comms. "It was real. Now it's just ashes and silence. The war erased everything. Or so we thought." Admiral Karn nodded slowly. "Then why does the ship return?" No one had the answer. The fleet followed from a distance. Careful. Quiet. As they moved closer to the Terran system, strange things began to happen. First, the stars disappeared. Not all of them, only those near Earth. Every time the black ship got closer, sensors stopped working. Signals went dead. Lights dimmed. Like the galaxy itself wanted to hide what remained of Earth. Then came the shadows. Dark shapes appeared in the distance. Not ships. Not asteroids. Just shadows. They didn't reflect light. They didn't move. But they were there. One ship in the fleet, the Varan's Pride, tried to scan the closest shadow. Its signal never came back. The ship itself. Gone. No explosion. No warning. Just gone. Trell whispered. "They said Earth was cursed." "Maybe it's true." Admiral Karn didn't reply. He was staring at the view ahead. There it was. Earth. Or what was left. The planet was broken, cut in half by some ancient weapon. Pieces of land floated in space, locked in silent orbit. Massive scars covered the remains. Red cracks glowed across the surface, like veins of a dying heart. Floating above the ruins was the black ship. It had stopped. Then something new happened. It opened. Slowly, a part of the ship split apart. From inside, thousands of small drones flew out, silent, black, and shaped like birds. They moved across the Earth's surface, scanning, recording, restoring data. One by one, they dropped small glowing beacons into the ground. And then the beacons began to hum. Commander Ral zoomed in with the sensors. "They're rebuilding?" he asked, confused. The black ship was using old human tech, mixed with something else, to wake up the planet itself. Old satellites reconnected. Ruined buildings shimmered back into shape. Data towers blinked with forgotten knowledge. And then came the holograms. From each beacon, blue light formed ghostly images. Children playing in green fields. Humans walking in cities filled with light. Soldiers holding flags with pride. Earth, as it once was. The crew of the fleet watched in silence. Some began to cry. Even Xarn had to sit down. His voice was soft. "This isn't an attack." Trell nodded. "It's a funeral." No music played, but in every ship, a soft sound began to echo. Not from the ship, not from their systems, from inside their minds. A human song. Old, gentle, full of sorrow. "We walked among the stars, but we never came home." Cadet Loro could hardly breathe. They came back to remember, to make sure they're not forgotten. Suddenly, the voice returned. Calm. "Human, this is not your place. Leave now." The fleet didn't wait. Without orders, the ships turned and moved away. Even Admiral Karn didn't resist. They had seen enough. As they left, they saw one final image on their screens. The human ship hovering over Earth. And behind it, more ships. Hundreds. Old, broken, covered in dust, but coming alive. From every corner of the galaxy, they answered the call. The Terran dead were rising. The Galactic fleet had left the Terran system, but they didn't go far. They stayed just outside the dead zone, watching, listening, waiting. And what they saw next would be told in whispers for centuries. The black ship hovered above Earth, quiet and powerful. But then, one by one, other ships arrived. First, a massive battleship appeared from the darkness. It was ancient, covered in rust and scars, but still flying. Its engines glowed faint blue, pulsing like a heartbeat. Then came 2 more, then 10, then hundreds. They came from different directions, moving slowly, carefully, like ghosts returning to a grave. No communication, no signals, just silence. Commander Trell stared at the screen in shock. "What are those?" Cadet Loro's voice came over comms, quiet and heavy. "They were the last Terran fleet. We thought they were destroyed." Admiral Xarn didn't speak. He just watched. The ships looked damaged, patched with alien parts, old tech, and strange glowing metal that didn't match any known species. But something about them felt alive. As the fleet formed above Earth, a symbol appeared in space. A Terran circle, split in 2, mended with light. An old war emblem, long forgotten. And under it, a message. "We remember." Inside the Galactic fleet, panic spread. Ships reported strange sensor readings again. Some crew members began to feel headaches. Others heard whispers in the back of their minds. The Terran ships were not just machines. They were carrying something else. Memories, pain, war, hope, rage. Each ship had witnessed a final battle. Each one carried a piece of humanity's end. And now, their return. A young ensign on the Galactic medical cruiser began shaking. "I saw it," she cried. "I saw them die. I saw Earth burn. It was like I was there." No one knew how to stop it. In truth, no one could. Back near Earth, the black ship, the first one, moved again. It flew low over the broken surface, scanning the damage, watching the rebuild. Then it turned. Slowly, the nose of the ship pointed upward, toward the galaxy, toward everyone else. One final transmission came from the Terran system. "We were forgotten. We forgave you, but you attacked again. Now, we will walk the stars once more." And with that, the fleet moved, not toward a target, but outward, toward different star systems. Some were heading to old Terran colonies, lost and silent for centuries. Others toward galactic communication hubs. And a few toward the core worlds. Commander Ral broke the silence. "They're spreading, not for war, for something else." Admiral Xarn nodded, "To reclaim their name." Cadet Loro, still watching from his small scout ship, added one last thought. "This is not a second war. This is their return." The galaxy had changed. Whispers spread faster than light. "They're back. Human ships, once thought lost, destroyed, or forgotten, now moved through space like silent guardians. No one dared stop them. They didn't fire. They didn't speak. But wherever they went, the galaxy remembered. On the desert world of Jura 5, a mining station picked up strange signals. An old Terran satellite, long buried under sand, suddenly activated. It began playing music. Soft, human music. Miners dropped their tools and stared at the skies. Above them, a black human frigate passed slowly, like a ghost returning home. On the jungle moon of Vetrakai, colonists woke to find a giant statue built overnight. No one saw who made it. The statue showed a human soldier kneeling, holding a flag, not in victory, but in memory. Etched in the stone were the words, "We came in peace. You burned it. We rose again." The Galactic Council held an emergency meeting. Admirals, senators, and ambassadors from every major race argued for hours. "Are they planning war?" one asked. "No," another answered. "Worse, they're waking up the past." One screen showed a Terran fleet hovering above an abandoned galactic science station. The humans didn't fire. They just waited. Then one by one, the station's computers rebooted, restoring files thought lost for 200 years. Research, maps, names of forgotten soldiers, both alien and human. They weren't destroying the galaxy. They were fixing what had been erased and reminding everyone humanity had not died. It had endured. In a hidden part of space, Cadet Loro watched all this from his small scout ship. He had followed the Terran fleet silently. He hadn't reported back to the main fleet in days. Not out of fear. Out of respect. He saw something the others didn't. Whenever the Terran ships passed by a world, they left something behind. A beacon, a memory, a light. Each one whispered the same message. "We are not here to rule. We are here to remind." Loro remembered what the voice said on the first day. "You should have left us alone." Now he understood. Humanity never wanted revenge. They wanted truth. They wanted the stars to remember who they were. The war may have ended Earth, but it never ended the spirit of its people. Suddenly, his ship's scanner beeped. Another ship was approaching. Not a Terran ship. A galactic vessel. It was Admiral Xarn's command cruiser. Loro opened comms. "Sir." Admiral Xarn's voice came through, calm and clear. "I've seen enough, Cadet. You were right to follow them." "Then, what do we do, sir?" There was a long pause. Then Xarn answered, "We don't fight ghosts, Loro. We learn from them. And maybe, we listen." All across the galaxy, something had changed. Not because of war. Not because of destruction. But because of a feeling. One that had been forgotten for centuries. Fear, not the kind that brings chaos, but the kind that makes you stop and think. What if we were wrong? Terran ships were everywhere now. Floating above moons. Orbiting dead colonies. Walking silently through broken space stations. But none had fired a single shot. And still, no one challenged them. Not the pirates. Not the outer clans. Not even the Galactic Navy. They all remembered the voice. "You should have left us alone." But now, another message came. Not through words. Not through weapons. But through light. Near the edge of the galaxy, in a place known only as the Dark Belt, something incredible happened. A giant sphere of light appeared, built from hundreds of human ships. It wasn't a weapon. It was a beacon. And inside that light was Earth, restored, not physically, but digitally. Every city, every voice, every piece of lost human culture projected into space as a memory. A living museum floating in the void. Aliens from across the stars came to see it. They walked through holograms of old Earth streets. They watched human children laugh in reconstructed parks. They saw soldiers saluting before their last stand. They saw what the galaxy had tried to erase, but couldn't. Admiral Xarn arrived with his ship and stood at the edge of the projection. He removed his helmet and bowed. Behind him, Cadet Loro spoke quietly. They didn't want to win a war. They'd wanted us to see them. Xarn nodded. They've become more than warriors. They've become memory itself. Suddenly, the beacon sent out one final signal. A soft message in hundreds of languages. We do not seek revenge. We only ask this. Never forget us again. Then, like a breath, the ships vanished. Not into hyperspace, not into wormholes. They simply faded, like shadows returning to the stars. The galaxy stood still. No words, no orders, just silence. But in that silence, something grew. Respect, regret, and most of all, hope. Because now, every world knew the truth. Humanity was never truly gone. They had simply waited for the right moment, not to destroy, but to be remembered. And as the stars flickered softly above the galactic core, one final message echoed through every channel, on every frequency, in every corner of space. This is Earth. We were lost, but we are not forgotten.